Welcome back to another episode of the Bearcat Basketball Podcast. I'm your host, Alex Meacham, former UC Bearcat basketball player from 1997 and 1999 under the legendary coach, my man, Bob Huggins. And I was fortunate enough to wear the iconic Jordan brand unis during my time. The Bearcat Basketball Podcast is now presented by the Healthcare Management Group. Shout out to everyone at HCMG, and thank you for the support. You can follow me on social media. I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Alex_Meacham. Meacham spelled M-E-A-C-H-A-M. We are live at Mio's in Clifton. And if we can give a shout out to Rich and Kelly, the owners, for allowing us to be here. And also, if you can give a shout out to our support staff, Colin and Stu, for all the production and making sure the microphones work. Give them a round of applause. Now, so far, we've had the following former Bearcat basketball players here live at Mio's. Keith Greger, Deontay Vaughn, who we're going to talk about in a little bit, Zach Tobler, Corey Blunt, Art Long, and Donald Little. Now, you can go back and check those podcasts. They're available on SoundCloud, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, and also available on our YouTube channel, Shine One Media. We will be off from a podcast on January 1st, the Tulane game, because obviously the Bearcats will be winning a football game the day before, right? So everybody's going to be celebrating that big victory over Alabama. We're going to win that, trust me. January 6th, we'll be back with a live podcast from 7 to 8 p.m. here. It's a 9 p.m. tip versus SMU. On January 12th, we will be here as well versus East Carolina, 5 to 6 p.m. We have two really, really good former players lined up for those podcasts, and I'm going to leave that for a surprise. I'm not going to announce that just yet. This segment is sponsored by the College of Arts and Sciences at the University of Cincinnati. They now have a flexible bachelor's degree that will allow you to graduate conveniently and affordably, and you won't lose any credit or have to start over. I'm excited to welcome in this former Bearcat legend that played from 2008 to 2012. He was a huge recruit from Mick Cronin, and I personally think he was the recruit that really jump-started everything for Mick. He played on the last team to be in the Sweet 16 for the Bearcats, and was an enormous part of that success. I'd like to welcome in my guy, number 34, Yancy Gates.
Thank you.
What's going on, man?
Nothing much. Happy to be home for the holidays. Able to enjoy this time here. It's rare, so I'm just enjoying myself.
Well, tell everyone here what you've been up to.
I've been playing professionally overseas. I've pretty much probably been everywhere you can think of: Paris, Germany, Russia, China, even Lithuania, to the smallest places. But I've enjoyed it. I've been doing it for the last 10 years. It's been a great experience. And other than that, when I'm home in the summer, I'm here working out and just spending time with my family. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Talk about your family a little bit.
My mom and my dad still here. We're from Cincinnati, they were a lot of the reason I stayed here to play, for them to be able to, interact, be at every home game. They never missed a home game, and they even came and drove to the close Memphis game and tournament games like that. So that was great. I have a daughter who goes to Clark, so spending time with her is everything. So, I miss a lot of time with her sometimes when I'm overseas, because we can be over there from 6 to 9 months a year. But, she's been able to travel over there, and gain different experiences. But, making sure I get quality time with her when I'm in the city is pretty much my priority.
That must have been tough last year with the pandemic. No one could come over there, correct?
Yeah, no one could come over during
when you planned. And you want to tell everybody what happened when you were over there? You tested positive, but no symptoms?
Yeah, no symptoms, no nothing. And I was in Turkey, and they're still very strict.
Very strict.
So once you test positive, you have to stay in your house for 10 days. you can't have contact with anybody. And if you go outside and you're caught, you'll get fined because any store that you go in, you have to give them a code, and it tells them if you tested positive.
Oh, wow.
In the last 10 days. Yeah, so that was the first thing I had to do when I arrived to Turkey was fill out forms so I can be in their system to track COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, have you learned any other languages?
No. No.
Well, you're probably not there long enough at some.
I mean, honestly, I think if it wasn't for the coaches being able to speak English and having teammates that speak English, I would. But, thankfully they don't. So, I'll pick up on a few words while I'm there, but once I come home, it's just like poof, it's just like disappeared.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, your daughter, you said she's 12. Mm-hmm. You had her your freshman year when you were here.
Yeah.
Does she play basketball?
No.
She doesn't?
She doesn't.
What?
Yeah, she doesn't play it.
What does she play? Does she play any sports?
She's just school and TikTok like the rest of the kids.
School and TikTok.
Yeah, school and TikTok.
How are you as a father? So I was talking to Donald Little, and I asked him what type of, parent he was, and he said he is super soft. Like, he is so soft on his girls. He has girls.
Yeah.
They get everything they want. What type of parent are you?
Oh, I'm the same. I have one child. It's a girl, and I'm like super soft on her. She knows it. She'll tell anybody like, "Oh, it's okay. My dad loves me. He'll get it." Like,
yeah.
But at the same time, I have to sometimes be an enforcer. When it comes to school and attitude, character, there's a thin line between soft and strict.
For sure.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this. So I know when Kobe Bryant passed away,
mm-hmm.
and his daughter being in a helicopter with him, the awareness of being a girl dad really became a movement across the country.
Yeah.
And you heard a lot of, I think, fathers kind of speak up and say, well, I wanted to have a boy, but then once I had a daughter, I loved it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I loved the experience. Were you that same way, like hoping it was a boy originally, but then once you had her, you were like, this is the greatest?
Yeah, that's like the natural instinct of a man for that, you hear you having one, I want a boy, But once she was born, and I was one of the lucky fathers, I actually got to hold her before her mom.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so the doctor gave her to me first.
How'd that go over? Was that
she was cool. She was fine. Because, but it was like an instant attachment. Once she was handed to me, and it's crazy because 3 days later we left to play Pitt. Literally 3 days after she was born, we left to play Pittsburgh. But
so you were in the middle of the season.
Yeah, it was middle of February.
Wow.
She was born February 12th.
So did that give you a little extra motivation to be a better basketball player?
Oh yeah, for sure.
You're having a child?
Yeah, definitely. Because it's just extra motivation to just be better overall in life. Yeah, because you actually have someone dependent on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just a different feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell everybody out here, I know you and I have discussed this before, but tell everybody where you got the name Yancy.
Oh,
that's such a unique name. See, now people are turning around like, yeah, we want to know. How'd you get the name Yancy?
Oh, man, that was a phone conversation. But my parents' favorite show was this cowboy show, and the star of the cowboy show was named Yancy Derringer. And of course, now my name is Yancy Gates. So it's just, it's crazy. I hate it.
Now, have you ever watched the show?
Never.
Never seen it?
But I did look it up.
Okay.
And it was, the countryest cowboy thing I've ever seen in my life. And I'm named after that.
But what's crazy is that generation, and even before your parents, cowboy movies were everything.
Yes, everything.
My dad watches cowboy movies like you wouldn't believe.
Even now, I'll walk in, they're watching a Western.
And they're still watching it. My dad's the same way. Well, they said that back in the, I forget what year it was, but one of every 3 movies that came out was a Western movie.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the day. Could you imagine that? Like, if you saw a Western movie pop up now, you're like, man, I'm not watching that.
Yeah, I'm not watching that.
But back in the day, it was a thing. Now, I'm sure you have gotten this a lot, and you've gotten in the past. Did you play football?
I did. I played football until I got to the 7th grade.
Okay.
Yeah, but because once I got to the 7th grade, I was 6'6". So,
Jeez.
yeah, I hit my little spurt. So I felt like I was too tall to continue to play football.
Yeah. What position were you playing?
I was mostly playing DN, and then the little offense, I would play tight end.
Okay.
Because I was still tall for my age, but 7th grade, I was 6'6".
You'd have been a tough tight end, man. So did the high school coach? Who's the high school coach at Withrow at the time?
Doc Rivers.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yep.
Every day. Come on. It'd be an easy scholarship. I'm like, I'm gonna get an easy one now.
Yeah. I'm a hooper.
Yeah, like, but every day he asked me, and the way I stopped him is I told him I'll play if I can play quarterback.
Oh, he went.
It was over.
He didn't want no part of you being a quarterback.
He asked me no more.
Now speaking of football, this would be a great segue. The Bearcat football team obviously has a game on New Year's Eve against Alabama.
Yeah.
Have you been following the Bearcats football team?
Oh yeah, I've been loving it. Ranked in front of Ohio State.
Yeah.
Everything. I've been loving it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I've been loving it.
For sure. What do you think about that game? Do you think we could beat Alabama?
I mean, I think anything's possible. It's only one game.
Yep.
It's not, best out of 5 or nothing. One game. Anything is possible.
How was the football team when you played here, when you were playing basketball? I can't remember.
That was Marty Gilliard.
Ooh,
yeah, they was good. Yeah, they was good. That's when they played Florida.
Oh, yeah.
They was good. The football games was fun. We was there a lot, for sure.
That's good. Well, it's good to see, obviously, the football team doing well.
Yes, sir.
But also, knowing that I think the basketball team is back on the rise, and it will be on the rise here.
Right.
So that's definitely good to see. Let's talk a little bit about, Yancy, you being a hometown kid.
Mm-hmm.
And, if you go on Twitter now, there's a lot of, athletes that talk about being a hometown kid, a hometown hero, right? You're starting to see that on social media a lot. Mm-hmm. A lot of guys that are at, like, the Princetons and Molars and all that are staying home and playing football at UC. For you, being one of, I think several guys like Damon Flint and others, Bobby Brannon, that stayed here in Cincinnati to play, what factored into your decision to stay home and play for the Bearcats?
Oh, it was the time we was in the Big East.
Yeah.
So, I'm looking at the perfect opportunity to be close to my mom and dad because I was, a little nervous about going far from home. But I was like, I have the best conference down the street.
Yep.
So it was like a no-brainer. Once I got, close to the time where I was feeling like I wanted to commit, it was almost a no-brainer. I knew like I was going to Cincinnati.
Tell everyone some of the schools that were recruiting you at the time.
I had a few schools recruiting. Ohio State had offered me, Syracuse, I had got one, Georgetown. Florida was actually my first offer.
Was that Billy Donovan?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that was Billy Donovan. Yep. And it was a few more, but it was just, man, it was like home, Big East. I've been watching the Bearcats my whole life. It just felt right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and jump into it. I want to talk about your career, and then we'll talk a little bit more about this current Bearcat basketball team and Coach Wes Miller. Mm-hmm. But looking at your freshman year, 2008, 2009, being a freshman, and I think for any collegiate athlete, no matter what sports you play, being a freshman, there's a process to adapt to the college game. It's so very, very different. Mm-hmm. What was that like for you coming in as a freshman, adapting to college basketball? Was it tough?
Oh yeah, it's tough, but it was fun because I was fortunate enough to have another freshman like Kashmir to go through it with. Dion was there. But, it was a grind. It was hard, especially, our class coming in, we was expected to play a lot early.
Yep.
So now our process is sped up a little more. We started games, everything our freshman year. So, it was tough, but it was fun. And, I enjoyed every bit of it. I'm an athlete, so it's like the challenge, we take it.
For sure. Yeah. Now you coming in, prior to you coming into the Bearcats, Mick had not had a tremendous amount of success from a win standpoint, and kind of the hope was that you would come in and amongst others and change that. When Mick and the staff was recruiting you, was there conversation that, hey, Yancy, you're going to come here and start right away? Or was it, hey, you're going to earn what you get? What was the sales pitch? I'm wondering.
Oh, man. Honestly, I think I was probably his easiest sell pitch ever. Like, we kind of had normal conversation. He didn't never have to really sell me on starting or anything, because me inside already felt like I'm capable of coming in and starting.
Yeah.
So I didn't need a coach to sell that to me. So, like, honestly, he was just letting me know the direction he wanted to go in, and just normal conversations, getting to know each other.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah. He didn't really have to, sell me on a dream or a promise.
And you grew up watching the Bearcats,
right,
and watching a lot of, the famous guys play. Who were some of the guys that you watched as a kid that played for the Bearcats that you were like, that's my guy? Like,
oh, man.
Some of your favorite Bearcats.
It was a few. Like, Kenyon was a household favorite. My mom liked him. My sisters liked him. My sister was just asking me if I seen his son play.
Oh, yeah, KJ.
Yeah, so, man, then you had even Donald Little after that. You had Max Seal after that. And me and Max, we was hanging out in the summer league. I was with Detroit when he was still there. Even like Steve Logan.
Yep.
Man, all day. Kenny Satterfield. All of them.
Some legends, man.
Everybody.
Mentioned a lot of
everybody, man.
A lot of good.
All day.
Yeah, for sure. Now, so
Phil Williams.
Your freshman year, obviously it was you, Deontay. Was there? We had Deontay on the podcast, and he was great. What was it like playing with Deontay?
Man, he was my roommate.
Oh, he didn't tell me that. Yeah,
He was my roommate, man. Now I appreciate Dante, because me being a freshman, he was a junior. He helped me a lot going through the process, on and off the court, being able to handle school and basketball, like being his roommate and being able to, him being able to talk and just chilling, not even really nothing crazy. It helped a lot.
And I think sometimes people don't understand the grind of college athletics. Playing basketball is like a full-time job.
Oh, yeah.
And then you also have school. So to balance those two things,
it's crazy.
It's tough.
Yeah, you might on a Wednesday have a 6 a.m. weight lift.
Yep.
In class at 7.
Yep.
You still got powder on your hands.
Yep.
In the weight room.
Been there.
And then you got 4 classes, and then 3:30 you got a 3.5-hour practice. And then after that you got study tables. Make sure your homework done. You don't get to bed till 2 in the morning some nights.
And then you have to perform on game night.
Yes.
And if you don't, you're getting criticized by coaches, fans.
Yeah. And especially when we was Big East, we was having a Monday night game.
Oh yeah.
Those Thursday night games.
Yeah,
so it was
TV.
Yeah. So it was like, oh man, I need a 5 hours.
I feel that. Let's talk about that. We were talking a little bit before we went on air here, but that Big East grind, man. I remember when you played. I mean, UConn coming in, Villanova coming in,
every night.
Even the teams that people didn't look at as like the top tier teams, the St. John's and all that. It was still a battle. The Rutgers, it was still a battle.
Oh, but remember the year St. John's had Hardy in them.
Oh, that's true.
They beat Duke at Duke.
That's true. That's true.
It was a lot. The Big East was just rough.
Yeah.
Top to bottom. DePaul finished last, but they averaged the most points on the board in the Big East. That's
crazy.
Weird. So now when you go play DePaul, you're like, oh, they ain't won, but they're going to score 95, 100 points. So now we got to score tonight.
Right. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And speaking of DePaul, that was the year that you guys lost your freshman year. You lost to DePaul in the first round.
That was the first game they won, the whole Big East.
Crazy.
It was the first game.
I was at that game because it was in New York City, Madison Square Garden. I was at that, and I was just like, oh, man.
But you know what? I mean, for me, I was a freshman. So when it happened, it was like, oh, man, I never want to lead a guard that fast again. Because it was too fun. Even though we lost, the experience was, like, unmatched.
Right.
So it was like, man, I never want to leave this early again.
Being in New York City, being in the most famous arena in the world.
Celebrities there. It's crazy.
Now, your freshman year, you guys did not make the NCAA tournament. Your freshman year.
No.
So losing to DePaul first round, didn't make the NCAA. Did those events motivate you guys, inspire you guys to put in that off-season grind and come back better that 2009, 2010 season?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Definitely, because now Cashmere's coming back. So now we have our point guard coming back. We still got Deontay Vaughn. You still got Rashad Bishop and them type of guys. So, oh, yeah. And then you bring in a Lance Stevenson. Jaquan Parker came in.
Yep.
SK redshirted. It was, so not only did we, get older, we also got better.
Yep.
So definitely, yeah, coming in that year, that was the year we went to Maui. We definitely had a lot more motivation.
And now, I'm serious when I tell you this, Yancy. I think you were the recruit that changed everything. And here's why. Because I think you opened the gates, pardon the pun, but you opened the gates to get in a Lance.
Oh, yeah, yes, sir.
You agree with that? And these other recruits to come in
Yeah.
because they see one of the top kids in the country
Yeah.
is coming to the University of Cincinnati.
And the thing was, me and Cashmere, we was at NBA camp together in Virginia. And he was still committed to Clemson, but that's when he was going through he was considering decommitting.
Yep.
So we had lunch, because he's considering Cincy. So he like, what you gonna do? I was like, look, if you come, I'll commit when I go home. And that's when he went decommitted, and then like 2 weeks later I committed, and then he committed.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was like, and then even like Lance, when he came into town, because we had already been to like Adidas camp together, and just on the Adidas AAU circuit together, I was the first person he asked for, because that was a comfortable face, a familiar face. So, landing recruits, and they knew me. We was on the, on that same AAU playing field. So
Yep.
It's like, yeah, I'll go play. Good players want to play with good players.
Absolutely.
So, it's just that thing.
You were that centerpiece to Mick Cronin. So if you look at it, Mick Cronin's success in being at UCLA can attribute a lot to two people, in my opinion. One is Deontay Vaughn, and the other one is you.
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
Yeah, but he'll say it. I talked to him when he made the move, and he was even saying thank you, and I'm just like, man, we all put in our hard work in our area. It is what it is.
Yeah, no question. Now, your second year, like we said, you're playing with Lance. You got Deontay, Cash, Deion Dixon, right? You guys lost in the second round of the NIT.
Yeah.
So we got 2 years in a row, still no NCAA tournament. Former Bearcat that comes on the podcast. At any point, and I'm looking at this season because of no NCAA, yes, you're playing in the Big East. Yeah, you got a good core guys around you, but did you ever think about transferring?
No, I never did.
Not one time?
No, I never thought about transferring. Like, for one, I'm not sitting out a year.
Yeah, yeah.
And for two, I came here knowing that, the program was still building up to something.
Yep.
So just because it got a little tough, I wasn't going to just bail out and quit. So
I can appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure.
You're here for the long haul.
And it made it mean more once we achieved it. It meant more.
And to kind of steal a overused phrase, you really did trust the process.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
Definitely, yeah.
I know that's an overused phrase,
definitely.
but it was a process.
It was definitely a process. It was definitely a process.
So Yancy, let's jump into your third season, 2009 to 2010. I'm sorry, 2010 to 2011. This is your junior year. Do you now feel like this is your team?
Oh yeah, junior year was definitely the year. Even because I even had the confidence of my teammates, like including the seniors. Like Rashad Bishop and Larry Davis, even Darnell Wilkes, like they didn't mind that. Even though it was their senior year, they just wanted to win.
Yeah.
Before they got out of here, they wanted to get to the tournament. And even though a lot of people didn't know what to expect from us with Lance and Tate leaving, like we knew, because we was in the gym, we knew what we were going to do and going to be capable of the following season.
Right.
So that was definitely the year. We put in a lot of work that year too.
And what were those conversations like with Mick talking to you leading into your junior year season? Was Mick saying to you like, Yancy, man, this is your team. You need to take charge of this group?
Nah, he didn't have to. Like, we were pretty much, we already knew, because I had already, you know, I had went to San Francisco that summer, worked out, got in better shape, got ready. You know, we was more focused. So once I came home, open gym, was like, you know, dominate open gym, make your mark. That way, you know, I know and the team know when going forward how we was moving, and Coach Cronin even, you know, ran things towards that way. So, and that was, we started off that year with our first, 20 wins before Villanova? 15?
15 and 0.
15 and 0?
Yep. Start off 15 and 0. And that's tough to do in college basketball.
Yeah, for sure. And that's 15 and 0
in the Big East.
With losing our leading scorer the year before, and people expecting Lance to step into that for his sophomore year, but he decided to leave early. But we knew what we were going to be capable of, especially on defense, because that's where we lived at.
Right.
And
of course, that's a staple of Mick Cronin's team.
Right. So we knew we just had to wait for the lights to come on and be able to showcase.
So as you said, you guys are 15 and 0 to start the season, and one of my favorite things is you guys beat Xavier by 20.
Yeah, at home.
At home.
Definitely beat them by 20.
And spanked them. As my guy Brandon Mcintosh is over there, former Xavier player. He's giving us a look right now, looking like top flight security. I see you, B-Mac. But you guys finally make the NCAA tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Lose to UConn.
Yeah.
But it feels like this season, the whole team, the program is really turning the corner.
Yeah, that was the turn. That was definitely the turn, because now when you're back in the tournament, now everybody sees you.
Yeah.
So that's for recruiting and everything. And you know, we was able to get the win against Missouri first, which was a great win. So, you know, it was like, okay, now you even expect more for the next season coming up.
No question. So, like I said, you guys, you know, lose to UConn, but had a great season. Mm-hmm. So now you're getting ready to be a senior.
Uh-huh.
This is your last hurrah.
Yeah,
expectations are extremely high.
Yeah, now, you got to make the tournament now.
You got to make the tournament. You got to make a run in the tournament.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, right.
You can't just make it. You got to make the run.
Yeah.
Did you feel going into the season with the expectations? Did you feel pressure?
No, not really. Not really. I didn't feel no pressure because, man, we had good guys that year still, and you know we lost good guys, but we were still in sync, you know. Like, we was all friends. That was one team where I can legit say, like, probably top to bottom, even though we're going to have our differences, we were all friends.
Yeah.
So it was just easy to play. It was just real easy to play.
And you talk about, you know, your teammates and friends. We look at Sean Kilpatrick was on that team, Dion, Cash, of course, who you came in with. Parker, Justin Jackson, crazy JJ. So, but I think there was two games, but one game in particular that I found interesting. You guys come in with all these, you know, high expectations, great players, and you guys come out and lose to Presbyterian.
Yeah.
Explain going into that game. Was it something that was building up? Was it just something that just happened that day?
Honestly, because I think we had won a few games right before that, and we smacked them. Yeah. So we was kind of like, we don't Presbyterian, so we kind of went into chill mode.
Yeah.
And once you go into chill mode, and we was in chill mode in practice, like Cronin's cussing, yelling, we're gonna lose. We like, no way.
Yeah.
So we in chill mode. And then in the game starts, we start off cooking them.
Yep.
And we went right back into chill mode, and we never could get out of it. So that was a good learning process for us, though. Yeah.
And that's one of those things. If it doesn't matter who you play, Presbyterian, Monmouth, Tennessee Tech. If you give any college players confidence,
for sure, they're
right?
college players.
They're college players.
They
got a scholarship for a reason.
Yeah,
absolutely,
they're there for a reason. So. And and it was so crazy. I never forget how it ended. Well, we come down, and We miss, boom. He outlet it to the guard. He literally pulls a Steph Curry. Just go, dribble, 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 pull up. Game. I was pissed. Oh, man. And I had to shake their hands after that. Like, we were like, oh,
not
my
good.
God.
What was that locker room like between
my God.
not only players but coaches?
Man, it wasn't even so much the players. We just knew the next week is just about to be ridiculous.
Brutal.
Like, man, and we knew it was gonna be bad because Cronin, he came in the locker room. Said, "I told y'all." He didn't yell. He didn't cuss. He looked and said, "All right," and left. We said, "Oh
boy,
it's gonna be a bad week." It was a tough week. It was a tough week.
Yeah, some tough practices.
Oh, for sure.
How were those film sessions?
Oh, brutal. Film sessions was brutal, but necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah, because by time, man, and that's one thing I always loved about Coach Cronin was how good he is with breaking down the other team. Because he would break that team down so good and put it on paper to by the time we get into the game on defense, we see the back cut before the back cut.
Yeah.
Like, mistakes happen, but, man, it was textbook.
Sure.
It was like clockwork.
Yeah. You guys always felt prepared going into games.
Even if we knew if we struggling to score tonight, because we had those nights, but we won some of them games those nights too.
Yeah.
Because we knew once we make it a grinded out game, we'll get them. Like.
And I'm going to tell you what, Yancy, one of the toughest things I know when I was playing with the Bearcats and, especially when we would lose a game, the film session the next day and coaches just rewinding the same play over and over.
And it's you.
It's you, and he's circling, and that's brutal.
It's brutal. But, man, film is the best thing for you because when you see your mistake.
Absolutely.
And you see how bad or sometimes how dumb you look.
Sometimes you don't know when you're on the court.
Yeah, you don't realize
right.
it. And then when you see it, you just like, I'll never do that again. Because I just looked horrible. Just right away.
Oh, been there. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think another loss, and I think the Presbyterian loss helped you guys. There was another loss. Was it the overtime game against Marshall? Was that? Was it Marshall that year? It was like an overtime loss, I believe, right?
It was.
I think
it was Marshall that year at home again.
At home.
Again.
But okay, so I personally think, and we'll talk about the end of the year here in a second, but I think those games helped. And they helped shape a mentality for you guys.
Nah, for sure, because honestly, Marshall, we didn't just come out and dog walk the game. We was playing.
Yeah.
It turned into we let them turn it into a scrappy game. And usually that's okay with us, but they wanted that one. They wanted that one. And I had ended up playing with a guy in Israel who was on that team, and we were talking about it. And he was like, "Man, we was awful after that."
They put all that energy into beating.
He was like, "Man, we beat y'all and we got cocky and lost the next 5." I said, "Whoa,
wow!"
But it was just one of those games. It taught us because they did to us what we would do to teams when we was having a rough night scoring.
Yeah.
And we like, damn, they did that to us.
Right.
So it's like, we learned a lesson. Like it can be done to us.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So. Now I interviewed you. I forget exactly when it was, but I'd reached out to you, Yancy, and I wanted to get you on the podcast last year or whenever it was, and I said I wanted to talk about the Xavier game, your senior year, and you said, "Hey, that's cool. I'm willing to talk about that."
Yeah.
And us talking about it, you even told me that's really the first time you've really talked about the brawl in public and gave your side of the situation. And it's crazy because I had several media people listen to that podcast, local media people, and hit me up and said, I never knew all that. Like one guy wrote an article that wasn't a good article towards you. And then when he heard the podcast, he was like, I feel like writing that article now. Now that I hear Yancy's side.
I can understand that though. because I'm real private.
Very private,
so
yes.
Me reaching out to a Kenny Freeze, I'm not doing it for other people's approval. I'm doing it because I feel deep down that was the right thing to do.
Well, we want to dive into that because I know a lot of Bearcat fans want to know about the Xavier Brawl and what all happened and what was going on in the minds of the Bearcat players. So we're going to talk about that right now. So take us. I think it's only proper that we actually go back. There were things that led up to that.
Yeah, for sure.
Actual. Why don't you tell the fans about that?
I mean, like we talked about it. People don't know it started in the summer. Me and Two Holloway was playing in the Devon Rose League together, and we was beating everybody 30, 40, and that's summer league, so it's straight hooping. And so, people, of course, people in the stands, people here, they're gonna always talk.
Yep.
So you got Cash, you got Dion, SK watching us play. But you got people, Yancy should play with Two. He would have been better with Two. Or even other people saying, oh, man, Two would have been better with Yancy instead of with Freeze.
Yep.
So, as an athlete, you take offense. So, it's aggressive. So, whatever. The summer's over. Nobody's even thinking about that no more half the time. So, we're leading up, the week, how the week go, leading up to the Xavier game.
Intense.
It's the most intense thing a player can do on a basketball court leading up to a Xavier game. But, the week's intense, media's in and out. So, some things were said in the media, would this guy start here, would that guy start here? So
I heard that.
I think, that really started, everything brewing because now on the other side, they like, what? Like, you shouldn't even have answered it, like, blah, blah, blah. So walking into the game, we knew it was going to be a little more intense than normal, but nobody thought that intense. Like, it got intense. So
right.
So
make sure you stay close to the mic.
Okay. Yeah, so, just going through the motions of the game, Two comes right out the game and walks straight up to SK and whispers in his ear.
Yeah. So to take that step back, Sean Kilpatrick, I believe, was on local radio.
Yeah, on
and
radio.
was asked a question about
Two
Holloway. So that created some.
Yeah, it created tension because Two like, oh, why you talking about me? SK like, you're not starting over my point guard, which is right. Like I'm not gonna say somebody starting over Cash, even never. You feel me? So the tension hot. So Two Holloway, he goes up. Says something to SK. So right then and there, we know we're like, oh yeah, okay, it's gonna be a wild night. Like,
right.
Even then, you still don't think it's gonna get that wild, but just the process of the game, the tension, the back and forth between the players. Once that build up,
the adrenaline gets going.
Yeah, once it's going, it's going. So it's just one of those things.
Now take us back. So you and Kenny Freeze had an incident, I believe, in the shootout the year before.
That was
correct. Was that the year before? When the head
that
like
was
headbutt.
Freshman year.
That was freshman year.
Yeah, freshman year.
He gave you a headbutt, correct?
Yeah, he headbutted me. Yeah, but I mean, even then, by the time then, I ain't care nothing about that. We was hooping.
Yeah.
So, but it's just one of those things. Like when it all started to form too. Like I said, me and my teammates, we was all close. Like, we up in the rooms on our free time, we together. We wasn't in this room, we wasn't in that room. We was brothers.
Right.
Like, because my teammates, the ones who couldn't make it home for holidays, they went to my house because I was up the street. And my mom knew, my parents knew, like, we're going to cook extra because I got about 4 or 5 more coming with me.
Right.
And they my height, my size, we coming to eat. So, my teammates was my brothers. So, so when it jumps off.
Yeah, you got to have your brother's
my
back.
natural reaction is like, that's family, that's y'all, so it's just going to be what it's going to be.
What was the one moment for you, being on the court? I know we could watch the film, but what was the one moment for you, Yancy, that you feel really triggered, okay, punches are going to be thrown now?
Oh, man, it was when, I'll never forget, Two Holloway, he walks up. Oh, man, was it G-Line or was it?
And G-Line was on the bench, I believe, right?
No, G-Line was in the game.
He was in the game?
G-Line was in.
Octavius was on the bench,
Yeah,
I think.
It was Octavius. Octavius stood up when it started getting crowded, and Two Holloway pushes his face. you know how that goes.
Uh-huh.
So that's when I threw the ball. So like
Yeah.
don't hit mine, I won't hit yours. So once it got to going, it got to going. So there's no holds barred. Like you're not gonna get me.
Yeah. So why Kenny Freeze? Why did you pick him out? Was it just he's the first one you saw?
And that was the thing. It wasn't a pick out. It was the first person coming towards me. I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, boom, he's my size too. So I'm like, no, like, that could have been me. Like, that's how I think in that situation. So I was just, I reacted how I reacted.
So once you hit him, obviously he's got blood flowing and things are getting crazy. What are you thinking at that point? Are you like, uh-oh?
Nah, see, but that's the thing. Like, once I hit Freeze, once I seen Freeze and he fell, I was no longer thinking of Freeze.
You were looking.
I was thinking about the crowd over there fighting.
Oh.
So that's why he went down. I went to the crowd. So like, because I'm gonna do that for my family, my real family.
Yeah.
Y'all not gonna be in nothing, and I'm watching.
Right.
Like, we in it together, then we in it together. So if not, then it's gonna be half, and it ain't gonna work. So we're gonna hoop together. We're gonna go hang out together. And if we got to, we're going to fight together. So that's just how I am. Like right now, if somebody come up to you, I got you. Like, that's just me.
Now, going from the court to the locker room and then getting in the locker room, I'm sure you're still amped up.
Honestly, by the time we got to the locker room, I was calmed down.
You were calm.
Because it was over. There was no more noise. There was no more people flying around. It was just us. And it was over. And me and Ak talked about it a couple times. I was mad at Ak because I told him if you wouldn't have left the bench, 2 wouldn't have mushed you and I wouldn't have threw the ball.
Yeah.
But it happened. But, it was just one of those things. So once we was in the hallway and everything was settling, everybody was settling, The adrenaline was just leaving.
Settled.
Yeah.
So were you guys all in the locker room together as a team, and then Mick came in?
Yeah.
Was Mick like slow to come in there, or was he in there right away?
Mick went to media first.
Okay.
So we was just waiting for him. Everybody, was just chilling out. Nobody really talking or nothing. And then we just waited for Cronin to come in.
How was that when he came in?
Man, he was actually, I couldn't believe he was that calm, but I think because of the situation, he had to be that calm.
Yeah.
So, we just kind of showered up and just hopped on the bus. And then we just handled everything. They talked about everything that next morning.
Did your phone blow up?
No, my phone didn't blow up because I don't give a lot of people my number.
I hear you.
But, my phone didn't blow up. It was, but it was just one of them things that day. People calling. It wasn't really like, oh, man, but, just making sure, like, I was mentally okay. So it was cool though.
So what did your mother and father say?
Oh, they just, like I said, they just wanted to make sure I was okay. Like, stuff happened, but we still human. So they just wanted to make sure I was mentally okay.
Yeah. So what was it like, Yancy? And obviously, when you walk around town, like people see you. Like I told you, you were at the mall yesterday, and somebody sent me a message and said, Yancy's at the mall. And I'm like, all right, cool. Right. You're the biggest guy at the mall, right? So right after the shootout, you're walking around town. Are people asking you about it? Are they saying, like, comments? I'm sure Xavier fans saw you.
Not really. Not too much. A couple comments here or there, but it wasn't really too much. I think, honestly, the most was when we got to New York for the Big East tournament. The parade from the New York Giants was coming down the street, and some guy seen me get off the bus. He was like, oh, that's that guy that knocked out the dude.
Wow.
in the middle of Manhattan. I'm like, oh, give me an old tip. Like, that's crazy. Like, but
that
yeah, other
crazy.
than that, like, not really too much.
That the clip of the brawl just ran over and over, and it's still to this day they run it. How do you feel about that? Like when you see it today, are you like, man, I hope they quit running that, or are you just like, it is what it is?
Like, whatever. Like, if they want to keep running it, they can keep running it. But, I mean, the only thing I don't like is that they run it before the guys play now. Them guys had nothing to do with it.
Nothing to do with it.
Not even same conference, same coaches, no nothing. So, you know, if they want to run it, they should run it on their time. They shouldn't run it before the games when these young kids is about to play. Like, this is their crosstown shootout. They shouldn't relive what we did.
Right.
Like, that was us. They should just let it go.
Right. Now, one thing that I want you to talk about with Bearcat fans, many don't know, is you ended up reaching out to Kenny Freeze.
Yeah, I was reaching out to Kenny Freeze. People don't know, me and two friends.
Yeah.
Like, we've been friends since the Kentucky Derby, the Adidas All-Star game. We was on the same team. So even though all that happened, I hit him up, like, yo, send me Freeze's number. And he sent it to me, so I hit him up, we chopped it up. I said what I said, my apologies. He even said his, you know, like, because Freeze do stuff on the court people don't know about, but that's neither here nor there.
Right.
But, you know, so we talked, you know, I said my apologies, let him know, like, it's just the heat of the moment. And, you know, we said our piece, and that was the end of it for us.
Yep. And a lot of people don't know that part of the story.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you were able to get that out.
You was the first person I told.
Yeah.
Like, other than, like, my parents, like, I don't even think Cronin knew that.
Yeah.
Like, I just did it because, like I said, I felt like I should do it.
Sure. Yeah, because those media guys were hitting me up, and they're like, whoa, he talked like, they were like, that's crazy. So,
yeah, for sure.
Do you still have people today, like, just come up and ask you about it randomly?
Nah, they won't ask me about it, but they'll give you, like,
they kind of get to it?
Be like the right hand. Like, it's all cool. Like, it don't even bother me at all. Like, so it's just funny.
So here's the question. Being a parent and having a daughter, does she talk to you about it?
I mean, she knows.
Of course, yeah.
Because her friends at school, like, oh, I'm going to look up your dad. And like, you know, that's one of the first YouTube videos. Like, oh, I'm going to look up your dad. Your dad plays ball. I'm going to look him up. But we never really, like, talked about it. But it's just like one of those things, like, she knows.
Yeah.
But I'm her dad, so she don't care.
Right. Yeah, I was always wondering. So all that stuff happens during the season. You got suspended after the brawl.
Uh-huh.
How many games were you suspended? 6 games.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so one of the things I thought was fascinating is you talk about how close that team was. You get suspended, and the team comes together and still goes on a 7-game winning streak.
Right.
And really holds it down. And,
for sure.
And the thought process is, okay, they've gelled in a certain way. Now when you come back in the fold, taking it to the next level. Is that how you guys felt?
I mean, that's how we felt. We knew that. You know, some people was like, oh, is he going to work in that, this and that? But, like, they knew at the end of the day, yeah, they won those games, but if we really going to win, like, I got to come back.
Right.
Like, so it was just one of those things, like, and they also knew, because now we got the downhill, the dribble drive offense, and we still got our old offense that we ran through me. So now once we're like 4 or 5 games in, Cronin starts to mix them. Teams don't notice it because it's still a 4-out.
Yeah.
And I'm just popping elbow, hitting the cutter. So it was
interesting.
Yeah, so that's really when our offense got better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was after that.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. I remember, I believe, the first game after the Xavier and when you were suspended, I think it was the
like
Wright State game.
Yeah, it was Wright State. Uh-huh.
And I remember going to that game, and there was a picture of the team on the court at Wright State, all kind of like arms together. Remember that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that picture.
And they played well and held it down. And obviously, you return, team does well. You guys make a run to the Sweet 16, and obviously lose to Ohio State. I'm sure you didn't like that at all.
Man.
Of all the teams you got to lose to, because this city was so hyped up for the Bearcats versus Ohio State.
Right.
And you know, being from here, you felt that.
Sure. Oh,
What was that game like?
Oh, man. That game, man, that atmosphere, that feeling, it was amazing. Like, even though we didn't come out on top, that's still a lifetime experience that not every college player get, you know, to make it to the Sweet 16, be at the TD Garden, playing Ohio State. Like, it was, like, you can't ask for more. Like, you can, but who can complain?
Sure. So, going into the Sweet 16 game versus Ohio State, Was your mindset and your teammates, if we get past Ohio State, we're winning this whole thing?
Oh yeah, because once we see Ohio State, we like, okay, this is gonna be the toughest.
Yeah.
Even though we know it, nothing was gonna be easy. But we're looking at a Syracuse team that was dealing with a lot of stuff, Fat Mello in and out.
Yep.
And then we saying, okay, between them and Wisconsin, like even though we wasn't thinking ahead, like we look at that, we like, oh yeah, we beating them. Like we just beat them.
Right.
So in Wisconsin, we feel like they're not tough enough.
Yep.
Like so, and then we look ahead from there, and it's just like it's on us.
Right.
So, but we felt like the whole tournament, it was based on how we performed. It wasn't so much we felt like a team would just be that much better than us. We just knew we had to perform.
Right. So what was it like, and I know my senior year, but obviously you way more decorated player, finish on the Sweet 16 game, being a senior, knowing your Bearcat career is over.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like for you when that horn sounded and you're in the locker room knowing this is it?
Oh man, it was a lot of feelings. It was a lot of mixed feelings because you spend so much time here, it becomes home.
Yeah.
Like, and then your teammates, and then especially the guys that's still gonna be there. Like when I was leaving, Justin was still gonna be here. He was my roommate. Kashmir was staying another year.
Yep.
SK was still gonna be here. So. You dang, I'm not gonna be playing with my boys next year.
Right.
It's unbelievable.
Yep.
But then at the same time, you man, I did it. I actually came to college and had a good career. And not a lot of people can do that.
And you were, as I said earlier, you were such an important piece to changing the program around.
Yeah.
And as you are a senior and you're leaving and you talk about those next guys taking the lead.
Right.
The program was in a lot better place.
Yeah, for sure.
Largely because of you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, seriously.
Appreciate that.
So, and you talked about this briefly, but for the Bearcat fans, for you enjoy playing for Mick Cronin.
Yeah, definitely.
What did you enjoy about playing for Mick Cronin?
Man, it's a lot, man. Cronin, he was the Cronin y'all would see in the games. Yelling, screaming, we was okay with that because we knew him off basketball.
Yep.
He was so down to earth and willing to hang out with his players.
Right.
We did stuff with Cronin all the time.
Yeah.
So and I think that made it easier for us to play for him because he was easy to respect.
Gotcha.
And trust because not only would he have us in the locker room on the court, when we would go to his office outside of basketball, he would look out for us.
Yeah, for sure.
And, I've heard stories of players not getting that from their coach.
Yeah.
So, I feel fortunate that I was able to have that. And that's why even to this day I can, call Cronin and we'll chat.
Right. So what were your thoughts on his UCLA run this past season?
Oh, man, it was crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it was crazy. I called him. He was like, I thought it was gonna be your senior year, but I got it now. I was right. So,
yep.
Now it was. I just called him, told him congratulations because, that's who brought me to college.
Gave you the opportunity.
Yeah, he didn't have to offer me a scholarship when
Sure.
he got into town. So he gave me the opportunity to be able to not only play at the time it was the best conference in basketball, but also do it at home.
Yeah.
So that was big.
Yeah, no question about that. And it's crazy that UCLA was in the. They were in the was it the play-in game? They were in the play-in game to the Final Four.
I think so.
It was the play-in game.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Quickly, how many years have you played professionally? 10.
Yeah, 10. It's been 10.
10. You gonna go do it again?
Yeah, definitely.
How many more years you got left?
I want to do at least 3. I want to do at least 3 to 4 more.
Okay.
I want to play at least 3 to 4 more years because I still love it.
Yeah.
I still in love. Being competitive.
Yeah.
And it's even a little more fun now because now, I'm 32. So a guy come in the gym, he's 25, and, cook him up.
You got to show
you feel me?
So, got to show him what the old head got.
So it's fun. It's still fun.
Yeah. So you've had a chance to meet Wes Miller and talk with Wes Miller. Can you talk a little bit about what you guys talked about, and your feelings on Wes Miller.
Oh man, we had a brief chat, but oh man, I like Coach. I think his plan and the direction he wants to go.
Yeah.
And especially with hopefully the Big 12 soon. I think he's gonna be great. I think he's great. He was great for the program. To reboot. From a couple down seasons. And I think once he's here, get his players in and get his system actually
in place.
Yeah. I think he's gonna be good. Like he's already showing signs with players he didn't recruit. So that's always a plus.
I love his energy, and us going to the Big 12.
Yeah, that's gonna be big.
Kind of reminds me, that feeling with being in the Big East.
The Big East.
It's gonna help recruiting.
Right. Big Monday games come in. Thursday. Yeah. Prime time. Night game. 9 o'clock at night.
Right.
On TV. ESPN.
You gotta love those. I mean, you live to play those.
Yeah, man. Like, as a kid, you watch those games, you dream about those games, and then when you're actually in those games, it's like unmatched.
Yeah, no question.
It's an unbelievable feeling.
No question. All right, Yancy, I have a couple quick questions, quick answers, okay? This is a little bit of an odd question, okay? And I think I know what your answer is going to be. I'm going to call this MJ versus MJ. If you had the chance, would you rather be in their prime? Would you rather be Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player in the world?
For sure.
Or would you rather be Michael Jackson, the most popular person in the world? MJ or MJ?
Oh, man.
What would you now, you're shaking your head, but I've had some people give me some answers that, for you, can you moonwalk at all?
No. I
Nancy
cannot
dance
at all. Man, Michael, that's tough.
You got to remember.
Because them are the two most famous people.
Two most famous people.
But Michael Jackson had men cry for him.
Fainting.
Yeah,
fainting.
I'm Michael Jackson.
People were falling out at grown men passing out at Michael Jackson. Would you rather be Michael Jordan at his prime or Michael Jackson at his prime?
Oh man, Michael.
It's tough.
Man, that's tough, man. Because Michael Jackson is like the ultimate superstar.
Ultimate entertainer.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie, man. My childhood dream, if I could sing, I would have been a singer.
You'd have been a singer.
So I'm Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson. Did you guys expect that from Yancy? You didn't expect that one? All right, my next question. Your most memorable Bearcat game ever.
Ooh,
as a
Syracuse
player.
In the Garden.
Syracuse in the Gardens.
Syracuse in the Garden.
What about it?
Everything. We all had a good game.
Yeah.
You can't. That 7, our first 5 with Justin Park and Jeremiah Davis played good that game too.
Okay.
We all had a good game. The first half they lit them up.
Yep.
They spread the zone out, and I had 14 in the second half. I had 2 points in the first half. So, and then to beat them, to go to the championship of the Big East, you beat them in New York.
Yeah.
You got Spike Lee there. Denzel was there.
Man.
Jadakiss there. Like all these
stars are out.
Yeah, the stars is out. It's primetime Madison Square, ESPN. Nobody watches no other basketball tournament but the Big East at that time. Like
absolutely.
That was the best game I ever played in.
Gotcha. Okay. My next question. What would be your dream one-on-one match? So if you could play any player in the history of basketball one-on-one, who would it be?
Probably Kevin Garnett.
Kevin Garnett.
Yeah, Kevin Garnett.
Going to 10, what would be the score? Would it be KG in his prime and Yancy Gates in his prime?
Oh, yeah. 10-8.
Going to 10, 10-8.
Me.
Yancy Gates. Now, we're going to tell Kevin that because, he talks a lot of trash.
That's fine.
Man, he talks a lot of trash.
Sure.
That was your guy, though.
Yeah, that's my guy.
Yeah. No question. Okay, my last question here, Yancy. Of all your Bearcat teammates, if you had to go to battle and you were able to take one teammate with you to battle and you guys were in the trenches and if I bring this guy to battle, I'm not losing, what teammate is it?
Ooh, I'm not losing?
I'm not losing.
Oh, yeah, that's easy. Rashad Bishop.
Rashad Bishop?
Yeah, that was my guy.
Why Rashad Bishop?
Because, man, he literally, from my freshman year, when he was a sophomore to his senior year, I watched him play the point, the 2, the 3,
everything.
and the 4,
Everything.
and would switch off to the 5 with no problem.
Crazy.
He wasn't known as a shooter, but you leave him open, he made it. He did literally everything for us. Like, you can't lose with that guy.
Underappreciated player in Bearcat history.
Definitely underappreciated, for sure. Like, if you look at a Leonard Stokes, Rashad Bishop is that kind of guy.
Yes.
Like, people, he didn't get a lot of appreciation because of his earlier years.
Yep.
But we don't make it to the tournament that year and have that success with the team we had without Rashad Bishop.
Wow.
Because he literally played every position.
Yeah, I like that. Yancy, can we expect to see you at more UC basketball games?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm here, so I'm definitely going to be there.
Okay.
For sure.
Bearcat fans, can you guys give Yancy Gates a round of applause for coming out to Mio's?
Thank you. Thank you.
And I'm going to say this, Yancy, on behalf of all the Bearcat fans. We appreciate you
Yes, sir.
staying in town, not going to Ohio State, being a Bearcat,
Yes, sir.
wearing the red and black, and basically changing the trajectory of the program, like I said before. And where we are today is a lot of what you and Deontay did to help us get here. So thank you very much from
sir.
Bearcat Nation. We appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And I want to thank, we'll give another round of applause.
Thank you.
A lot of blood, sweat, and tears right here.
Yes, sir.
And I want to thank everybody for listening to another episode of the Bearcat Basketball Podcast.